All right, so let's tackle how we are going to complete part two. From part one, you have your spreadsheet. You are going to complete all of the stuff in your spreadsheet as long as it directs you to. If not, then everything should be done by hand on a separate sheet of paper, and you will submit everything like that. Okay. First part is a bunch of calculations, our descriptive statistics. So our mean, median, standard deviation. All of these, there's little shortcuts in your spreadsheet. So let's look over there at my sample, mean, median, standard deviation, all right here. So here's I only have, I think, 8 data points. You're going to have your 40, but that's okay. Make sure you do this for all 40 of them. So the mean, a little shortcut, what we can do, mean also known as an average. So we're going to use the formulas that come with Excel and Sheets and as a little shortcut for ourselves. So we're going to do equals average parentheses. This tells us what we want to take the average of. From here, we can just highlight your data for all song lengths. So you're going to highlight all 40 of yours. I only have 8. I'm going to close the parentheses before I press enter. Boom. I don't want to suggest autofill on this because I'm doing different calculations all the way down, but there's my mean, and I'm done. Median. 2 ways we can do it. Maybe you want to do both if you want to check. I'm going to do it by hand first, and then I'll check my work by doing it in using a formula. So remember, a median is a middle point. So once that I have this all ordered and I have 8 data points, that means my first half, there's only 4 of them, and my second half, there's 4 of them. This is important for quartiles. So I know there's a shortcut for median, but again, this is going to help you for doing your quartiles. So I want the middle quartile or the median. So that means the middle spot is in between the 4th and the 5th data point. So how you would find the median when it's between 2 is I open up my calculator and I need to average the 2 of these numbers by adding them and then taking half or dividing by 2. So my median should be 229.5. So that's if I did it by hand, but let's use this formula, equals median, open parentheses, grab your data, close parentheses. Make sure you do all 40 of yours and press enter. And look at that, 229.5, I got a match. So that's how you find a median by hand. This is how you can do a little shortcut. So in the next part, part 2, so we did our mean median. I'm going to skip ahead for a second for that 5-number summary because median is part of that. So you already found one of the 5 numbers. Another one of your 5 numbers is your minimum. So it should be your top number here because you ordered it. Your maximum will be your bottom number here, again, because you ordered it. So that's 3 of the 5. Your other 2 of the 5-number summary is your quartile 1 and your quartile 3. So I'll show you how I would do it with my 8 sample points. So remember, I found the first half of my data to be up here. So quartile 1 will be the middle point of that half. So it would be between points 2 and 3. So I'll take the average of those 2 numbers. There's my quartile 1. Quartile 3, I'm going to find the middle of my second half of my data. So it would be in between the points 6 and 7. That's why I showed you how to do it with median being the middle of everything. Then you have to find the middle of your first half of your data, the middle of your second half of the data. This is something we did a while ago. I want to say maybe topic 3, definitely from the first test. Okay, so that's mean, median, 5-number summary. Sample standard deviation. I need to see using the spreadsheet I gave you. I have all the steps planned out for you, ready to go. So here it is, part 2, standard deviation. First thing you're going to do is take each data value, x, so these are all your x's, and we're going to subtract the mean. All right, have it set up so you're looking at everything you need. So here's your formula way of doing it. You press equals to start a formula. You grab the song length you want, which is in spot D5, and it says subtract the mean. The mean I'm going to type in manually because I want to make sure it uses this mean every single time. So it's D5 minus the mean, enter. Yes, I do want it to autofill because I mean it's going to take every song length and subtract my mean. Perfect. If yours didn't automatically do that with the autofill, you'd grab the corner with the little box, you drag down, and it will fill it in the same way. Okay, now it says take the x minus mean that we just did in column E, we're going to square it. So again, a formula, and I believe there's something for squaring. I don't remember. I think the easiest way, we'll just grab our cell E5 and times it by itself, E5, right? Squaring is just multiplying by itself. Press enter, autofill the rest. Again, you're going to do this for all 40 data points. I'm only doing it for 8. Then once I filled in these 2 columns, I'm going to go and follow the directions it tells me over here. The next part of the formula says sum or add all of the squares from column F. So add is the same as sum in our formula. So equal sum, grab your data, close parentheses, enter. Then it says take H7, what we just found the sum of, and we have to divide it by n minus 1. So equals to start a formula, grab H7, divide by n minus 1 is how many data points there are, but minus 1. So I have 8 data points, so I'm going to divide by 7. Press enter. Then lastly, I'm going to take what I just found, H8, and take the square root of it. So equals, and then square root is SQRT. Grab my cell. This is what it should look like, square root of H8. Enter. There, right there is my standard deviation. So everything in green is what I was actually asking for, right? So mean, median, standard deviation, mean, median, standard deviation. But I do need to see your use of the spreadsheet here. Okay, determining outliers, that's something you need to do on a separate sheet of paper by finding your upper fence, your lower fence, and then making a decision about outliers. The next part of your descriptive statistics is going to be making a grouped frequency table for song length. Again, I have a template ready for you with 5 classes, and it already has a column for frequencies, relative frequencies, and cumulative relative frequencies. So that is over here, part 2 frequency table. All right, so classes. We want only 5 classes. So we are going to have to find our range here, max minus min. 357 minus 171. So the highest number minus the lowest number. I'm going to add 1 to that and then divide by how many classes I want, which is 5. So I want my class width to be 37. And I think I'll just round up just in case. Let's make it 38. So I'm going to start, I could start at 171, but it'd be a little nicer if I started 170. And then I'll find out that next number in a second. Oh gosh, what did I say? I exited out. I think I wanted to go 38. So 170 plus 38 to find my next starting point would be 208 to something. All right, add 38 to 208. I get 246. I'm just adding that 38 number. Add 38 again. 274. 284. Add 38 again. I don't want to make a mistake on this one. Hopefully I haven't yet. 284 plus that 38 gets me 322. Okay. Now I have to find my upper limit on these classes. So it'll be the number just before the next class starts. So right before 208 would be 207. Just before 246 would be 245. Just before 284 would be 283. Just before 322 would be 321. And if you notice, these are all going up by that class width again, 38. So this really just goes up another 38 at 359. Okay, so now I have my classes. Hopefully I didn't mess up by forgetting the number I calculated before doing anything in my head. So at this point, we would count the frequency. How many numbers happen between 170 and 207? So there's one, there's a second one, and because they're ordered, I just know it's these two. I don't have to keep looking. 2. Next, I want 208 to 245. It looks like 3 of those exist. Then 246 to 283. It's just those 2. And then 284 to 321, none. Put a 0. Oops. Put a 0. That doesn't just disappear. And then there's one over here. And I always just like to check, does this add up to how many I needed, which was 8? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it looks pretty good. Relative frequency, we can do a formula again. So relative frequency is frequency divided by total. F over N. F over N. F divided by N. So I'll take my frequency, divide by 8. Actually, easier way to do it, take my frequency, which is in K5, divide by 8. Autofill? Perfect. I don't love the bars underneath, but that's okay. I could just do this instead. Oh, I don't know why that's happening, but that's okay. Cumulative relative frequency is when we take each frequency and add the ones before it. So 0.25 was first, we keep 0.25. Next, we're going to add the numbers above it together. Next, we're going to add all the numbers together. Oops. I didn't press add now, did I? On this one, we're going to take this, add the numbers together, enter. Take this cell, add the one before it, add the one before it, enter. Take this one, add the one before it, add the one before it, add the one before it. And the last one equals our cell, add all the stuff before it, which, hey, maybe you notice we can just grab the cell right before because that already added everything above, and it should add up to 1. Right? There's not just one way to do it. There's like 3 different ways. You could do it all kind of by hand. You could use some formulas. You could half use formulas. I mean, it really doesn't matter. Just make sure this is F divided by N, and this is this column added up each column as you go down. Okay, let's check back here. So I have all of my group frequency table complete. Now all of this needs to be done by hand. I will explain. You're going to make a box plot. A box plot uses the 5-number summary. Again, all these are in your notes. Make sure your fences are shown as brackets and your outliers are shown as little asterisks. You are going to use this 5-number summary to complete the box plot. Then you're going to make a histogram using your relative frequencies from the table you completed. Okay, so 5-number summary box plot, relative frequencies histogram. And then I had you take note of genres. So you're going to have a third graph, a bar graph, which is not a histogram. It still has bars, but they are not touching bars for genre. Okay, and remember your genre, you listed over here. So I would have 3 rocks. I would have 1 hard rock, 2 countries, etc. And then last thing you're going to take note of, you can do this on your scrap piece of paper as well. You're going to comment if you think the shape is symmetric, left skewed, or right skewed. There's multiple ways to do it. You could use your comparison of mean and median. You could use your shape of the box plot or your shape of the histogram. Okay, so these are very visual, or you could compare numbers, mean and median. All right, so that is the gist of part 2. This is probably the longest part, but you do have your spreadsheet to help you. And again, the second page has all your rubric here if you want to check out. If you want to check this out, see how many points it's worth, 42, which is the most of the 3 parts. And then, use this as almost a checklist before you submit.